Imagine you feel a midnight craving and remember that you have some ice cream in the fridge. You excitedly bounce towards the fridge, and just as you open it, you find that the ice cream has crawled out of the cup and is weirdly moving in the fridge. This horror came true in the 1985 horror comedy film, The Stuff, where a yogurt-like substance gets sold in the market. People have become so addicted to it that it sells more than the famous ice cream brands. This bliss of a product soon becomes a threat when it starts altering the human mind and making people aggressive and obsessed over it. Let's dive deep into this stuff. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Enough is never enough of the stuff.
The stuff that
Mystery beneath the surface. Where did the stuff come from? One snowy night, a railroad worker notices something creamy white in the snow. To take a closer look, he touches the stuff, and for some weird reason, that pricks my brain. He decides to taste it. The taste of the stuff enlightens him, and he asks his co-worker to taste it as well. The co-worker reluctantly follows his lead, and is surprised at the enchanting flavor. The first worker hopes that the stuff keeps oozing out of the snow so that they can sell it. Somewhere else, Jason is awakened because of the mosquitoes in his room. He gets a midnight craving and rushes towards the fridge. To his dismay, the ice cream he was about to devour was spilled out of the cup, moving on its own. His father soon arrives, doesn't listen to what Jason has to say, and scolds him to go to bed. He then takes the ice cream and enjoys it alone. The ice cream that Jason just saw is the same element that the railroad worker noticed in the beginning. It is now a national sensation called The Stuff, with its creamy, sweet, and non-caloric properties. It has surpassed the sales of all the big ice cream brands and threatens the place for being the best dessert in the nation. To save their ice cream's reputation from melting, all the other ice cream brands come together to investigate the ingredients and FDA certification of the stuff. They hire an ex-FBI agent, David, to investigate and help them get more information. Back at Jason's house, his family has become so addicted to the stuff that they have replaced it with their meals. They even have their fridge stocked with the stuff. His mom tries to feed him, but he slaps the stuff out of her hands before running away. David tries to find out if his investigating scientists are able to decipher the ingredients of the stuff, but learns that the companies legally keep their ingredients a secret so that their products can't be copied. So testing the product would not be the solution. David talks to Nicole, the advertising campaign manager for the stuff, who has surprisingly never tried the product. He says that he wants to buy her firm, and they agree to go to a lunch meeting. Jason is now seen in the convenience store, throwing off all the cups of the stuff from the shelves and fridge. It is evident how addicted people are when some of them start eating the stuff from the floor. He is soon subdued after he has managed to rampage through the entire store. David meets Vickers, one of the FDA officials in charge of approving the stuff before it came to market. David inquires about how long the stuff was tested and why every other member of the committee that approved it has either left the country, is deceased, or has resigned. Vickers remarks that the stuff is just a dessert, so they don't really need to test it that thoroughly. He mentions that he eats it all the time and even feeds his dog. When Vickers goes upstairs to grab the FDA file for David, he notices an unnatural amount of stuff in his house. After David leaves with the file, Vickers suddenly gets attacked by his dog, who is intelligent enough to pull the phone cord out of the wall when Vickers tries to call for help. The scene cuts as the dog pushes Vickers into a corner and opens his mouth with the stuff running down his tongue. The next day, David meets Chocolate Charlie, who wants to expose the stuff as it has affected the sales of his products, forcing him to file for bankruptcy. The two start working together and try to find out the addresses of the remaining FDA members. The postman refuses to give them any information and enters the back room, where he falls to the ground with the stuff flowing out of his mouth. When the two break into the room, they notice the stuff escaping through the window. They follow it out of the window, but gets attacked by a bunch of people. A fight ensues, resulting in the horrific revelation that the stuff has eaten the people from inside, as just the punch is enough for them to fall apart. The two flee on the boat and arrive at the next town, where they ask the waitress for some stuff, but she says they don't have it, and we find out that she is hiding a ton of it for herself. Before separating, David advises Charlie to report the stuff to an FBI agent named Herbart, as David can't do it himself because he was fired from the FBI for being careless. Back in the city, David almost gets hit by the stuff distributing truck. He meets the distributing supervisor and gets into a heated discussion with him, as he even tries to bribe David into staying away from the company. David meets Nicole and confesses his intentions with the stuff, deeming it unsafe for the world. Nicole believes him and decides to help him gather more proof against the product. They learn about Jason, the only kid in the country who hates the stuff, and decides to meet him. Jason sneaks around his house to find that the real food is thrown away, while his family only enjoys the stuff now. Jason claims that the stuff is something moving inside it, and his father clarifies that it is called benign bacteria that kill the bad things inside them. The family forces Jason to eat the stuff. Defeated, Jason takes the cup and goes upstairs, dumps it into the toilet, and replaces it with the shaving cream. He goes downstairs and pretends to eat the cream, but his father finds out, and his family starts chasing him down the road. Conveniently, David arrives right in time to rescue Jason and drives him to the private plane he was about to take with Nicole. The couple arrives to investigate the stuff production factory, while Jason is left in the pilot's care on the plane to sleep. Soon, Jason wakes up just in time to notice the stuff flowing towards him and escapes through the emergency exit, running to the jungle. He stumbles upon the same area where the railroad worker discovered the stuff, but it has now become the production plant for the stuff. He hides inside one of the transport trucks, but unfortunately gets locked inside it. Why is a kid even here? Later that night, as Nicole and David sleep, the stuff starts oozing out of the pillows and attacking David. Nicole uses her quick wit to set it on fire and successfully free Jason. A stranger then enters their room to attack them, but gets flooded by the stuff instead. They steal the man's truck, and as they are on the road, they notice several transport trucks for the stuff driving to the source and follow them. They find out that the stuff is taken directly from the ground to be packed and sold in the market. David dresses as one of the workers and plants detonators in the area. As he passes near the parking, he hears Jason's voice from inside one of the trucks and steals it to save Jason. He also initiates the bombs near the stuff lake while driving. Meanwhile, Nicole struggles with the worker, but David arrives just in time to run him over. The three arrive at a military base, where David convinces the captain to help them close down the stuff they manufacture. The captain and his troops rush inside the production plant to fight the infected workers, but instead, they find the bodies of all the workers. The stuff has oozed out of their bodies and soon explodes out of the tanks, forcing the troops to retreat. The captain decides to inform everyone about the reality of the stuff, and they all head to the radio station, where Chocolate Charlie has also arrived. Unfortunately, Charlie seems to be one of those stuffed men, as he starts distorting and explodes with the overflow of the stuff. Nicole and Jason are trapped in the room with the stuff flood, but David is soon able to rescue them. The captain now makes the announcement and convinces the people to get rid of the stuff and control their addiction. Chaos breaks out around the nation, as fights break out between infected and non-infected people, while they throw the stuff away and set it on fire, overthrowing the company. David later meets the company distributor, who has now joined hands with the company that hired him. They reveal that they have created a new product named The Taste, which is 88% ice cream and 12% the stuff. As a punishment for their recklessness and greed, they are forced to eat the stuff at gunpoint. The film ends as the remaining stolen product of the stuff is ready to be introduced into the black market. The Blob with Brains, the stuff's shape-shifting threat. Believe it or not, the film is a satirical approach to American consumerism of the 1980s. The writer and director, Larry Cohen, seems to have created the stuff as the Earth's way to invade, post upon, and destroy human bodies, just like we do with the Earth. Cohen took the approach of showcasing such a serious issue in an absurd light with one of his most popular films. Everyone loves ice cream, but it is a shame that such heaven in a bowl can be a calorie bomb. Wouldn't we all love to have an alternative that is healthy in every way, but tastes just as or even better than the ice cream? The stuff looks like melted marshmallows with the consistency of yogurt and tastes better than the ice cream, a win in every way. But, as it seems, it is too good to be true. The stuff turns out to be a tasty parasitic organism that feeds over the host's body and takes over the entire being, leaving them fragile to any attack. It even takes over the host's mind that starts acting according to the organism's wishes. The infected crave more of the stuff and even encourage others to consume it. They would act upon the organism's wishes and attack people who threaten its existence. When the stuff feels threatened, it can escape the host body, leaving it a hollow shell. It can also move and morph its consistency based on the threat ahead. It showcases the tendency of shaping itself into a sheet to latch onto people's faces and suffocate them, as well as to overflood in a way that harms others. Hence, this thick cream-like substance is not as tasty as it seems. It is rather a weaponizing parasite that doesn't just host, but also changes itself to kill others. While shooting the film, the stuff was showcased by a variety of props, including wiped cream, ice cream, yogurt, shaving cream, liquid cement, foam latex, fire extinguisher foam, and even fish bones. When the cast shot with the fish bones one, it stunk so bad that they had to wash up right after the scenes. Marvelous verdict. That was it for this film, which seems like a weird fever dream, but showcases a society that we can probably still witness. Although it is highly likely that a random dude will taste some creamy thing oozing out of the ground and decide to make it a brand to distribute it, the craze that the stuff creates can be easily imagined in the real world today. Think of the times when there was a war for toilet paper and Stanley Cups. We, as a society, are more vulnerable to such a craze because of the internet. It can also be related to the addictive poison companies sell us, the greasy, processed, artificial food that we consume, which in turn consumes our health, making us vulnerable to diseases and depleting our immunity and digestive abilities. So you might want to rethink about all the food that you consume. Are you eating it, or is it eating you? And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.